Hey Pisces, I need to share something with you that just came through in this reading. And honestly, the energy here is incredibly profound. I just laid out the cards for you, and what I'm seeing is this complete cosmic shift happening with someone who hurt you. The universe is really showing me something specific about karmic justice unfolding, and I want to walk you through every single detail of what's coming. So I pulled these cards specifically asking about the person who caused you pain and what their current state is. And Pisces, the cards are not holding back. There's this massive energy of self-destruction, internal chaos, and karmic consequences playing out in real time. Let me take you through what I'm seeing card by card, because each one adds another layer to this story. The first card that came out is the King of Cups. And this is really interesting because initially you might think this represents someone emotionally mature and balanced, right? But here's what I'm picking up. This card is showing me who this person was trying to be, or maybe who they presented themselves as when they were with you. They wanted to appear as this emotionally intelligent person, someone who had it all together, someone who could handle deep feelings and connections. But Pisces, the King of Cups here, is actually revealing the mask they wore. Think about it this way. The King of Cups represents mastery over emotions, but when someone is wearing this as a facade rather than embodying it authentically, it creates this internal pressure. They were pretending to be emotionally evolved when internally they were actually quite turbulent. And you know what happens when you suppress your true emotional state while trying to project stability? Eventually, that dam breaks. The King of Cups in this position is telling me that this person built their entire identity around being emotionally controlled, being the mature one, being the one who had emotional wisdom. But it was all a performance. And here's where it gets really deep. When you wear a mask for too long, you start to lose touch with who you actually are underneath it. This person spent so much energy maintaining this image of the King of Cups that they never actually did the internal work to become that person. So now, without you there to perform for, without you there to validate this image they created, they're facing this terrifying void. Who are they when they're not performing emotional maturity? Who are they when the mask comes off? The cards are showing me that they're experiencing this profound identity crisis right now. The King of Cups energy they projected was so tied to how you saw them. And now that you're not in their life anymore, they can't maintain that image. It's like they were holding up this heavy throne, and the moment you left, their arms gave out. The throne is crashing down, and they're realizing they never actually earned the right to sit on it in the first place. What's really coming through strongly is that they're dealing with this overwhelming sense of fraudulence. You know that feeling when you realize you've been faking something and you're about to be exposed? That's what they're experiencing, but on a much deeper level, because it's not just about one thing they faked. It's about their entire emotional identity being revealed as constructed rather than authentic. The second card here is Death. And Pisces, I know this card can seem intense, but what it's showing me in this reading is absolutely perfect. Death is about transformation, endings, and the absolute obliteration of what was. This isn't a gentle transition. This is a complete ego death happening for this person. Everything they thought they were, everything they built their identity around, it's dying. And not peacefully, not gracefully. This is a painful, confronting death of the self. The Death card is showing me that they're going through what I can only describe as a psychological and emotional dismantling. You know how in nature, before new growth can happen, the old has to completely decompose? That's what's happening to them. But here's the thing, they're not at the new growth part yet. They're right in the middle of the decomposition, and it is brutal for them to experience. Think about all the ways they identified themselves. Their confidence, their self-image, their emotional superiority, their ability to manipulate situations or people, whatever, gave them a sense of power or control. The Death card is saying all of that is crumbling. And when I say crumbling, I don't mean it's just changing a little bit. I mean it's being completely annihilated. They're experiencing the death of their ego structure. And for someone who relied so heavily on that structure, this is absolutely devastating. What's really profound about the death card in this position is that it's irreversible. You know how some changes in life you can undo or go back on? This isn't one of those. What they're going through right now is going to fundamentally alter who they are, and there's no going back to who they were before. The person who hurt you is essentially dying, and someone completely different is going to emerge from this, but that process is excruciating for them. The cards are also showing me that they're very aware this is happening. This isn't unconscious. They can feel themselves falling apart. They can feel their old self dying. And that awareness makes it even more painful because they're watching it happen in real time, unable to stop it. It's like watching yourself in a movie you can't pause. They're a witness to their own destruction, and there's absolutely nothing they can do to prevent it. What's coming through really strongly is that this death energy is specifically tied to how they treated you. The karma of their actions isn't just coming back to them as external consequences. It's causing an internal death. They're being forced to confront what they did, who they were when they did it, and the profound emptiness that exists at their core. And that confrontation is killing the version of themselves they thought they were. The third card is the Star. And this is where the reading gets really interesting because the Star is typically such a hopeful card. It's about healing, renewal, guidance, and finding your way forward. But Pisces, in this context, the Star is showing me what they've lost. See, the Star represents hope, and this person is realizing that they lost their star when they lost you. You were their hope, their light in the darkness, their sense of direction. What's really coming through is that they had this future mapped out in their mind, whether they admitted it or not, and you were central to that vision. The Star is showing me that they're now looking at their future, and it's just dark. There's no guiding light anymore. There's no sense of where to go or what to hope for. And this realization is crushing them because they're understanding, maybe for the first time, what they actually gave up. The Star in this position is also revealing something about their current emotional state. You know how when you're going through something really dark, sometimes just having hope, just having something to believe in can keep you going? They don't have that right now. The Star has left their sky. They're navigating in complete darkness without any sense of direction or purpose. And for someone who probably took your light for granted when they had it, this absence is absolutely devastating. There's also this element of the Star showing me that they're looking for healing, looking for some kind of guidance or sign that things will get better, but they're not finding it. It's like they're reaching out into the universe, asking for help, asking for a sign, and they're just met with silence. The Star that should be there to guide them has disappeared, and that disappearance is directly connected to how they treated you. They extinguished their own star through their actions. What's really profound is that the Star is also about authenticity and truth. And this person is realizing that they can't find their way forward because they built everything on lies, manipulation, or false pretenses. You can't navigate by starlight if you're living in deception. The stars only guide those who are willing to see truth, and they spent so long avoiding truth that now they can't access that guidance. They're lost, Pisces, completely and utterly lost without you. The fourth card that came through is the Lovers, and this is absolutely loaded with meaning in this reading. The Lovers is obviously about choice, partnership, and the consequences of our decisions in relationships. But what I'm seeing here is that they're being haunted by the choice they made. Every single day, they're replaying the decisions that led to losing you, and it's eating them alive. The Lovers card is showing me this constant mental torture they're experiencing. You know how sometimes you make a bad decision and you think about it occasionally? This isn't that. This is obsessive replaying of every moment, every choice, every word they said or didn't say. They're trapped in this psychological loop where they keep going back to the pivotal moments, the moments where they chose wrong, where they chose their ego over love, where they chose to hurt you instead of being vulnerable. What's coming through really strongly is that the Lovers is highlighting not just one choice, but a series of choices they made that led to this outcome. And now they're seeing the full picture of how each choice led to the next, how their actions created this domino effect that ended with them losing the most important person in their life. They're connecting dots they couldn't see before, and with each connection, the pain gets deeper because they're realizing how avoidable all of this was. The Lovers is also about union and connection, and in this position, it's showing me what they no longer have. They had a genuine connection with you, something real and profound, and they destroyed it. And now they're feeling that absence every single day. It's not just missing you in a casual way. It's feeling fundamentally incomplete, like a part of themselves is missing because that connection is severed. There's this energy around the Lovers card that they're also comparing every other connection in their life to what they had with you. And nothing measures up. Nothing comes close. Whether they're trying to move on with someone else or just interacting with people in general, everything feels hollow and meaningless compared to the depth of what you two shared. And that comparison is making everything worse because it's constant proof of what they lost. What's really intense about the Lovers in this reading is that it's also highlighting the fact that they know they made the wrong choice. But there's no going back. The choice is made, the consequences are playing out, and they can't undo it. They're living in this space of profound regret where they see clearly what they should have done, but they can't change what they did. That's a special kind of torture, Pisces. Seeing the right path only after you've already gone so far down the wrong one that you can't turn back. The fifth card here is Queen of Pentacles, and this is showing me something really specific about what they're losing or have lost in terms of stability and security. The Queen of Pentacles represents groundedness, practical wisdom, nurturing energy, and the ability to create a stable, abundant life. And what I'm picking up is that you brought that energy to their life, whether you realized it or not. The Queen of Pentacles is revealing that you were the stabilizing force in their life. You were the one who brought practical sense, who created a feeling of home, who made their life feel abundant and rich in ways that went beyond just material things. You nurtured them, you created stability, and you were essentially the foundation upon which they built their life. And now that foundation is gone, and everything is collapsing. What's coming through really clearly is that they're experiencing financial, practical, or material consequences as a result of losing you. Maybe you were the one who kept things organized, who made sure bills were paid, who maintained the home, who brought in income or managed resources wisely. Whatever the specific situation was, the Queen of Pentacles is showing me that your absence has created chaos in the practical aspects of their life. But it goes deeper than just practical matters. The Queen of Pentacles is also about feeling secure, feeling grounded in your life, feeling like you have enough. And they don't feel any of those things anymore. They feel ungrounded, insecure, and deeply impoverished, even if they have material wealth. Because the richness you brought to their life wasn't just about physical things. It was about creating an atmosphere of abundance, warmth, and security. Without you, their life feels cold, empty, and scarce. There's this energy that they're trying to create stability for themselves now, trying to recreate that Queen of Pentacles energy, but they can't. Because it wasn't just about actions or habits. It was about the energy you naturally embodied and shared. They're realizing that some things can't be replaced or recreated. Some energies are unique to specific people, and the particular flavor of stability and abundance you brought is something they'll never find again. The Queen of Pentacles is also showing me that they're feeling very lost in practical terms. Like they don't know how to take care of themselves properly, how to manage their resources, how to create a life that feels good. You were their Queen of Pentacles, and without you, they're like a kingdom without a ruler. Everything is falling into disarray, and they don't have the skills or energy to manage it because they relied on you for that. The sixth card is Ten of Pentacles, and Pisces, this is huge because the Ten of Pentacles represents legacy, long-term security, family, and the ultimate manifestation of stability and abundance. What this card is showing me is that they had envisioned a long-term future with you. Whether or not they admitted it out loud, they saw you as their Ten of Pentacles. They saw you as the person with whom they would build a legacy, create a family or chosen family, establish long-term security and abundance. The Ten of Pentacles is revealing that they're grieving not just the present moment, but an entire future that will never happen. They're mourning the life they could have had, the stability they could have built, the generational wealth or wisdom they could have created together. This isn't just about missing you now. This is about the death of a timeline, the death of a potential reality where everything worked out, and you both built something beautiful and lasting together. What's coming through really strongly is that the Ten of Pentacles represents the ultimate goal, right? It's the completion of the Pentacles journey. It's having everything you need, not just for yourself, but for generations to come. And they're realizing that they had the opportunity to create that with you, and they destroyed it. They had the blueprint for the Ten of Pentacles life right in their hands, and they burned it. The cards are showing me that they're experiencing this profound grief over the future they lost. Every time they think about their future now, they're confronted with what it could have been versus what it actually will be. And the gap between those two realities is enormous and painful. They see themselves growing old alone, not having the family or partnership stability they wanted, not building the legacy they imagined. And all of that could have been theirs if they had just made different choices with you. There's also this element where the Ten of Pentacles is about feeling complete, feeling like you've achieved what you set out to achieve in life. And they're realizing that without you, they'll never feel complete. They could achieve financial success, they could build material wealth, they could accomplish goals, but none of it will feel meaningful without you there to share it with. The Ten of Pentacles without the right partner is just a house without a home. It's just stuff without meaning. What's really painful for them is that the Ten of Pentacles is also about inheritance, about passing things down. And they're realizing that the best thing they could have inherited from their life was the relationship with you, the love you shared, the foundation you could have built together. And they squandered that inheritance. They threw away the most valuable thing they could have ever had. And now they're left with the knowledge that they'll never get it back. The seventh card is Three of Cups. And this is showing me something really specific about their social life and how losing you has impacted their connections with others. The Three of Cups is typically about celebration, friendship, community, and joyful gatherings. But in this reading, it's showing me the absence of those things. It's showing me isolation, loss of friendships, and the collapse of their social circle. What's coming through is that you were central to their social life in ways they didn't fully appreciate. Maybe you were the one who organized gatherings, who maintained friendships, who created those Three of Cups moments of connection and celebration. Or maybe your friends were their friends, and when you left, those friendships went with you. Whatever the specific situation, the Three of Cups is revealing that they're experiencing profound social isolation now. The cards are showing me that they're trying to connect with people, trying to recreate that Three of Cups energy, but it feels forced and empty. The celebrations feel hollow. The friendships feel superficial. Nothing has the warmth and authenticity that existed when you were in their life. And they're realizing that you were the heart of those social connections. You were the one who brought people together, who created the warmth, who made everything feel celebratory and meaningful. There's also this energy that other people in their social circle have seen how they treated you, and there's been a loss of respect or trust from those people. The Three of Cups can represent community judgment, and what I'm picking up is that their actions have consequences in their social world. People are seeing them differently now. People are distancing themselves because of how they handled things with you. They're being excluded from the Three of Cups gatherings because people don't want that energy around. What's really profound is that the Three of Cups is also about emotional support and having people you can turn to during difficult times. And they need that support right now because of everything they're going through. But it's not there. The people they would normally turn to either aren't available, don't trust them anymore, or were connected to you primarily. So they're going through all of this pain and self-destruction without the safety net of supportive friendships. The Three of Cups is showing me that they're experiencing a very specific kind of loneliness. It's not just being alone, it's being unable to connect, being unable to celebrate, being unable to find joy in social situations. Every gathering they attend just reminds them of what they lost. Every attempt to connect with others just highlights the depth of connection they had with you that they can't replicate anywhere else. The 8th card is 9 of Swords and Pisces. This is the card that really confirms everything about the mental anguish and despair they're experiencing. The 9 of Swords is the nightmare card, the anxiety card, the card of intrusive thoughts and mental torture. And it's showing me that they are in absolute psychological agony right now. This weekend specifically, the 9 of Swords energy is going to be overwhelming for them. What's coming through incredibly strongly is that they cannot sleep. When they try to sleep, they're plagued by nightmares, by memories, by visions of what they lost and what they did wrong. The 9 of Swords is showing me someone sitting up in bed at 3 in the morning, their mind racing with regret, anxiety, and despair. Every time they close their eyes, they see your face. They replay conversations. They torture themselves with what-ifs and should-haves. The mental anguish represented by the 9 of Swords isn't occasional. It's constant. It's every single day, but especially at night when there are no distractions, when they're alone with their thoughts. The cards are showing me that this weekend, this energy intensifies dramatically. Whatever has been building mentally and emotionally is going to reach a crisis point. The 9 of Swords represents that moment when anxiety and despair become so overwhelming that you feel like you can't function. What's really intense about this card is that the 9 of Swords is about thoughts that won't stop. It's like their brain has become their enemy, constantly showing them everything they lost, everything they did wrong, every way they failed. And there's no escape from it because the thoughts are coming from inside. They can't run from their own mind. They can't distract themselves enough to make it stop. It's relentless. The cards are showing me specific types of mental torture they're experiencing. There's the replaying of good memories and how happy they were, immediately followed by the crushing realization that it's gone. There's the imagining of your life now, wondering if you're happier without them, if you've moved on, if you think about them at all. There's the confrontation with their own actions, seeing themselves clearly as the villain in the story, unable to justify or rationalize what they did anymore. The 9 of Swords is also showing me that they're experiencing physical symptoms of this mental anguish. Insomnia, obviously, but also probably headaches, tension, maybe panic attacks or anxiety attacks. The mental and emotional suffering is manifesting physically because the body can't contain that level of distress without it showing up somatically. They're literally making themselves sick with worry, regret, and despair. What's coming through really clearly is that the 9 of Swords represents a kind of hell that's entirely self-created. They're not being tortured by external circumstances. They're being tortured by their own mind, their own conscience, their own awareness of what they've done and lost. And that's actually worse in some ways because there's no one to blame, no external enemy to fight. The enemy is themselves, and you can't escape yourself. The 9th card here is 5 of Cups. And this is perfect because the 5 of Cups is the card of grief, loss, and regret. What's really significant about this card is that it shows someone focused on what they've lost, unable to see what they still have. And that's exactly what's happening with this person. They're so consumed by losing you that they can't appreciate anything else in their life. Everything good is meaningless to them now, because the one thing that mattered most is gone. The 5 of Cups is showing me someone literally crying over spilled cups, mourning what cannot be recovered. And what's so painful about this card is that it's not a quick grief. It's not something they'll process and move through quickly. This is deep, profound grief that's going to last. The 5 of Cups represents that heavy, aching sadness that settles into your bones and becomes part of how you move through the world. What's coming through really strongly is that they're comparing everything to what they had with you, and nothing measures up. The Five of Cups shows 3 spilled cups in the foreground and 2 standing cups in the background. Those standing cups represent what they still have in their life, but they can't see them or appreciate them because they're so fixated on what they lost. They could have good things, opportunities, even other people interested in them, but none of it matters because none of it is you. The cards are showing me that this grief has layers. There's grief over losing you specifically, grief over losing the future they imagined, grief over losing the version of themselves that existed in relationship with you, grief over losing their own innocence or illusions about who they are. The Five of Cups is revealing that they're grieving multiple losses simultaneously, and it's overwhelming their capacity to process emotion. What's really painful about the Five of Cups in this position is that there's also this element of knowing they caused this loss themselves. If the cups had been knocked over by external circumstances, that would be one thing. But they pushed over their own cups. They destroyed their own happiness. And having to grieve something you destroyed yourself is a special kind of torture because you can't even find comfort in being a victim of circumstances. You're the perpetrator and the victim simultaneously. The Five of Cups is also showing me that they keep trying to gather up the spilled liquid, trying to put it back in the cups, but obviously that's impossible. Once something is spilled, once damage is done, you can't just undo it. And they're learning that lesson in the most painful way possible. They keep reaching out, keep trying to fix things, keep hoping there's a way to reverse what happened. But the Five of Cups is telling them there isn't. The loss is permanent. The 10th and final card in this reading is King of Wands. And this is really interesting because the King of Wands typically represents charismatic leadership, confidence, and dynamic energy. But in this context, what I'm seeing is who they're trying to be versus who they actually are right now. The King of Wands is showing me their desperate attempts to project confidence and control when internally they're falling apart. The King of Wands energy is all about bold action, taking charge, being magnetic and inspiring. And they're trying so hard to embody this energy right now because they think if they can just be confident enough, charismatic enough, dynamic enough, they can somehow fix their life or attract someone new or prove to themselves and others that they're fine. But it's completely hollow. It's another mask, another performance, just like the King of Cups at the beginning. What's coming through really strongly is that the King of Wands is revealing their desperation to reclaim power and control. They feel so powerless right now because of everything that's happening internally, so they're overcompensating with this exaggerated King of Wands energy. They're being overly confident in ways that come across as arrogant or desperate. They're taking bold actions that are actually reckless. They're trying to inspire others when they themselves feel completely uninspired. The cards are showing me that this King of Wands performance is exhausting them even further, because maintaining that level of false energy when you're internally devastated takes enormous effort. They're burning themselves out, trying to be the King of Wands, when what they actually need is to stop performing, stop trying to project strength, and actually deal with their internal collapse. But they can't do that because facing the truth feels too overwhelming. There's also this element where the King of Wands can represent passion and creativity, and they're throwing themselves into work, projects, hobbies, anything that makes them feel like they're still capable and powerful. But it's all compensation for the massive void where their relationship with you used to be. They're trying to fill the emptiness with achievement and action, but it's not working because you can't compensate for emotional loss with external accomplishments. What's really significant is that the King of Wands at the end of this reading shows me that despite everything they're going through, despite all the internal destruction and anguish, they're not showing it to the world. On the outside, they might still look like the confident King of Wands. People who don't know them well might not realize they're falling apart. But that just makes everything harder because they're not getting the support or understanding they need, and they're completely isolated in their suffering while wearing this mask of confidence. So Pisces, when I look at all these cards together, what I'm seeing is someone experiencing profound karmic consequences that are mostly internal and psychological. They're not necessarily facing obvious external punishments, but what's happening inside them is absolutely devastating. They're experiencing identity death, loss of hope, obsessive regret, loss of stability and future dreams, social isolation, mental torture, deep grief, and desperate attempts to maintain control that are actually making everything worse. The theme that keeps coming through is that they built so much of their identity and life around you, whether they admitted it or not, and now that you're gone, everything is collapsing. They're realizing what they had, what they lost, and what they'll never have again. And that realization is destroying them from the inside out. The universe isn't punishing them with external consequences. The punishment is much more profound. It's the internal collapse of everything they thought they were. This weekend specifically, the energy is intensifying for them. The Nine of Swords is showing me that the mental anguish is reaching crisis levels. They're going to experience some kind of breaking point where all of this becomes too much to keep suppressing or performing through. It's like everything that's been building is going to overflow, and they're going to be forced to confront the full weight of what they've done and lost. What I want you to understand, Pisces, is that this isn't about feeling satisfied by their suffering or taking pleasure in their pain. This is about cosmic balance. This is about consequences matching actions. This is about the universe ensuring that people who cause harm experience the weight of that harm. And in this case, the weight is crushing them. They're learning lessons that will fundamentally change who they are, but those lessons are brutal and painful. You don't need to do anything with this information. You don't need to reach out. You don't need to check on them. You don't need to feel guilty for their suffering. Their path is their own now. Your job is to continue focusing on your own healing, your own journey, and your own beautiful future. The karmic wheel is turning exactly as it should, and you're being lifted while they're experiencing the necessary lessons that their actions earned. Trust that the universe has this handled. Trust that justice is being served in ways that are deeper and more profound than we can see on the surface. And most importantly, trust that you made the right choice in removing yourself from their life, because someone who would treat you in a way that creates this much karma clearly wasn't aligned with your highest good. You're free now, Pisces. You're moving forward while they're stuck in this cycle of consequence and internal destruction. And that freedom is your reward for having the strength to walk away from what wasn't serving you. Keep moving forward. The universe has your back, and everything is unfolding exactly as it should.